so it'll be recorded, and then there'll be a link. If you miss a class, you know, or somebody wants to go back and watch the recording, they're allowed to do that. So. All right. Okay. Ellie, are you ready now that you're not holding the baby? Awesome.
Okay. I mean, everything I've learned is new, so
okay.
I'll just say it. I guess how important facial expressions are. That would be one thing.
Okay. So how important, you said important facial expressions are important to your signing? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Mike, are you ready? Oh, he's frozen. Okay. Elizabeth. Hardly. You're new to this class. Are you visiting from another class, or are you like this is your first class?
I just signed up today.
Okay, perfect. Do you know the alphabet so you can fingerspell your name?
I'm still learning.
Okay. So this is my, and then this is name. Yep. If you want to even do, like, do you go by Liz?
I do.
Okay. Just, this is L. I'll give you the short version. That way you can at least get that practice in. Ready? I, Z.
Okay.
Z with a pointer finger.
Okay.
Yep. L, I, Z. Liz.
Okay.
Okay. And what's the reason you would like to take the class?
I have a couple of reasons. I actually recently lost my hearing in my right ear. So there's many times when I think it would be helpful to learn. I also am in the special education teaching program. So I'd like to use it for that. And I currently work in the PAWS program. So I work with kids that use Sign Me.
Nice. Okay. You guys see what she said? Alexandra said, I've met you before. What did you say, Alexandra? Nice to meet you. I missed the nice. All I said was meet, so I had to put some words together. Okay. Okay, Mike, are you ready to try? You can go ahead and sign, and I'll, yep, just say my name and then fingerspell your name and then why in the class. My sign name is Mike with an M. This is my daughter. Her sign is Elizabeth, and she's deaf, and she's 7. Cool. Hi, Jackie. So we just went through everybody introducing, saying my name is, fingerspelling, and then why, something you learned since you've been here before from the class so far that you didn't know before. And you can speak it and sign it at the same time, and then whatever you don't know with signs, that's fine. My name is Jackie. Yep. You can't remember, that's fine. Well, I think something about you knew English signs, right? Signed exact English. So you're learning a lot of the differences between ASL and English. So there's not just one particular thing I think that you're learning. So probably mostly just the difference, some of the major differences. Okay. And I'm thinking, am I seeing everybody? I'm hoping there's not a limit on how many. Oh, I know. Yes, Alexander, go ahead. There was one other person.
I was trying to tell you that there's 9 of us.
Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. I only see 8 on my screen.
Maybe do you see yourself?
I don't see myself.
Okay, then you're good.
Oh, okay.
I'm new, Sari, Lacey. I don't know. But I haven't gone to any classes or anything. So I just have been looking up on what you just did. I don't know if you can see me on the screen, but
yeah, go ahead.
But I don't know how you
go ahead and say my. So you'd sign my, and then you have to move your screen down just a little bit because all I can see is from your neck up. There you go. So my name. And then, do you know the alphabet?
No.
Okay. L. Your name's short. You can pronounce it.
Which is this way or this way?
Always the right hand if
Okay.
you're a right-handed person. So you finger spell and do numbers with your right hand. L. A.
It's cut off a little bit. Can you move your hand over just slightly?
Can you see it right here?
Okay, there we go.
A.
Mm-hmm.
C. And it's kind of like this sideways. But you're pointing it forward. C. E. And you don't have to bend your fingers really tight. You can have them down like this, or you can have them just kind of loose. Y.
There's no E, so I'll just skip that one.
Oh, sorry. I knew that. L,
okay.
A, C, E.
L, A, wait. I got confused with the A again.
A.
Oh, A, okay. And then C, Y.
Y. Last name. So how do you say your first name? Is it Sarah or Soraya?
Sari.
Sari. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
You can call me Lucy. It's okay. All my students call me. It's like another first name.
Okay. And then Alexander, your turn. First class here. Okay. So I learned ASL a little bit when I was 10 years old. Okay, and also a little bit from SRU. Awesome. Oh, WOU. Thanks. Sorry. All right. I want to say there was one other person that I admitted. I think it was. I guess it was. I think it was just Jackie. Okay.
And Jessica's at a doctor's appointment with the baby right now, so.
Okay.
She wanted me to tell you.
All right. So, so some of you, obviously, we've got a little bit of some of you that are taking new to the class. I would definitely recommend going back through the newer lessons, and also there's some sign language resources. Miss Lacey, if you could get me your email, if you have a personal email that you want me to use instead of your school one, so I can send you all of the links that I sent out to all the class for resources for learning. That would be great. You can put it in this chat, or you can, I can give you my, perfect. And then Mike, same thing with you. If you have an email that you want me to send you resources to, I can do that. And Alexandra, I'm not sure if you're on my list. Because you didn't get an email from me, right, about this class. I think, Elizabeth, you were on my list. I remember your name. So people that are new, I want to make sure I get those resources to you. So put your email in the chat if you're comfortable with that, and I will make sure I add you guys to my class group of emails. When I send out email to everybody, you get the info and you get the resources. So, so yeah, start working with the, for you guys that are new, start with the alphabet. And then also we learned how to say name and my name. And then let's just go through some of the question words, just kind of as a good review for you guys and to learn new. And then we'll kind of go into the lesson. So you'll be a little bit behind in what we've already learned, but I think you guys will be able to catch up and stuff on your own. But you can let me know how I can help out with that. I'd be happy to help. Okay, so question words for our what, like, so if you were going to say what, like you're asking a question, what's, and then your, if you were going to say what's your name, all possessive pronouns are flat hand. So mine, yours. What's your name? My name. Fingerspell your name. And that's how you sign fingerspell. If you want to spell something, you wiggle your fingers. Okay. Facial expression. Yeah, you want to make sure you add the eyebrows when you're asking a question. You tilt your head and put your eyebrows up. So that also shows that you're asking a question. The sign for question is like drawing a question mark in the air. So like if you want to add that to the end, you're showing it with your face, and you're also saying, and you can put that question at the end, kind of like the Spanish does the upside down question mark at the beginning, at the end, to show that this statement is a question. Okay, what? And then I think we want to be careful not to go ahead of ourselves too much, but I'm going to go through them anyway. So who, what, if we just go through all the questions in order, like what we're most used to. So who, you put your thumb on your chin and you wiggle your bent finger. And I'm probably in reverse, but this is my right hand. So if you guys are left-handed, feel free to do left-handed because you have two parts to assign. You have a dominant hand and one that does like the bass. It's called the bass hand. So if you're left-handed, that's going to be your left one that's doing the finger spelling or most of the signing. So who, what, when, like what time, when. Because there's a different usage for that we're doing later. Who, what, when, where, why. I've also seen why they pull a Y off of their forehead. So that's kind of an older version. When you see the video and you watch Bill Vickers do the video that's attached to the life print lessons that are on that website where you guys register for the classes, that's where the website are, you'll see him do this for why. But yeah, but you can also wiggle the middle finger up at your forehead and do the facial expression like you're confused. Why? Who, what, when, where, why, how. So we did how are you last week, a couple weeks. You can twist it. You're right, Anna. You can twist it. You can also go like this. How. And how are you kind of turns into a quick, you know, like twist and turn thing. How are you? And we learned some responses to that question, fine or good. Maybe you've seen this one. This one's straight out. This is thank you. Good is straight down. Maybe a good way you can remember is like, thank you, like if you were on a parade and you were saying, thank you. So it's like going out more. Yeah, and then good is, think of it like goods, like you have things, they're in your hand, you're holding them, so drop it down. Good. Okay. Nice to meet you. So flat hand straight across. Nice. And then this is one person, this is another person. When you have a hand shape like this that's small and miniature, it's called a classifier. It represents a bigger object. So one person meets the other person, bring them together. Make sure your hands are flat because if they're like this is date. You don't want to say it's nice to date you unless that's what you mean to say. Okay, flat hands. Nice to meet you. Okay, so now when you meet a deaf person, which any of you guys know the sign for deaf? I know Mike knows it. What's the sign for deaf? From your mouth up to your ear. I've seen both ways, ear to mouth, mouth to ear. I think it's just a matter of regional preference, how they learn the sign. Yep. If you were going to ask the person, are you deaf? Go ahead.
Could you do nice one more time for me?
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
Right hand wiping across. Nice to meet you. Okay. So how would you say, are you deaf? You're going to ask a question. You deaf? Okay, so you got deaf and you got you. All of your pronouns are a pointer finger. Okay, so you're going to point me, you. Oops, you're frozen, Miss Lacey. Me, you, all of you, right? They is kind of like a little circle off to the left or the right because you're referring to a small little group of people. They. Us is right here on your right shoulder. Scoop down and draw a U on your chest. Us. We. So, sorry, say again? What were you saying, Alexander?
Does this work for we? Or like both of us?
Yes. This is kind of like a shortcut. It's like the two of us. And it's kind of like making like a K or two fingers. Both of us, you could do it off to the side if the person's kind of standing to the right of you, or like if they're in front of you or you're referring to, you could say the two of us, both of us. But it doesn't mean we in general. It means like just the two of us, like just the two of us, you know. So You want to make sure that when you sign we, when you're saying we went to the store, because maybe we is more than one person. You were referring to a group of people, we. Okay. All possessive pronouns are flat hand. So mine, Miss Lacey's back, mine, yours. And did you see the signs before that we did for, okay, so for we and us, you just take that flat hand, put it one side, and then pop it around to the other side. Ours, it belongs, it's us, it's ours. And yours, like yours plural, and theirs to a small little group. So same thing as the pronoun, you just replace the pointer finger with the flat hand. Like we talked before, in ASL structure, you don't use articles a whole lot, except in education when you're trying to teach deaf children English, which is what signed exact English is great for. We're not doing things like a, an, of, the, at, on, some prepositions, are, am, is, all of the be verbs. You sometimes use become. You will sometimes use that if it's necessary for linking a concept, but you really don't use linking verbs and articles and all that kind of stuff a whole lot. And then ASL structure, that it has, I think this is important to kind of continue to reiterate, because as you see this, as you guys learn signs, I want you to be thinking about the construction of the signs, because it'll start to make more sense to you. We talked about that a sign has a couple of different parts. It has a hand shape, like it has the shape that it's making, like this is a one hand shape, but this is also a person walking. But this can do some other signs, like the sign for sign. This is the hand shape, right? So it has hand shape, it has orientation, like is it facing this way, palm up, palm down, left or right? Which way is it facing? Orientation. And then movement, how is it moving? Is it moving like this? Is it moving in opposite directions? Is it alternating? Is it bouncing? Is it wiggling? How's it moving? And then whether you have, whether it has like where it's located on your body. So is it up here? Is it down here? So you can have similar hand shapes, similar palm orientation, but then the only thing that's different is the movement. So the example that we used last time was the sign for have. This is a sign that we use a lot. The English would be with the V's, but you just drop the initialization. So have, but then if you just drop your hands, you're tired. So I haven't changed my hand shape. I haven't changed the location on my body. I haven't changed the orientation. All I'm changing is the movement, and that's a different sign. And then this is animal. So it's interesting to see that 3 different signs, 3 different movements, and you have 3 different completely not even related concepts, but you could sign the wrong thing and then they would get the wrong message according to how you sign it. And then signs also incorporate, signs by themselves, there's a separate part to sign language, which is the facial expressions and the body language, and also things that you do with your mouth. And so we'll kind of show that, but that's a little bit more advanced. We're kind of staying kind of basic in this class. So just the basics of understanding how you form a sign. So we talked about deaf. We also talked about the sign for, if you're going to sign the sign deaf, you need to learn the sign for hearing. Yep. So this also means public, like if you go out in public around other people, and it's related to talking. Because deaf people, their culture, hearing people can speak. I mean, deaf people can speak too, but it's kind of on a different realm. I like to use the analogy of, Harry Potter and, wizards and muggles. It's kind of like that kind of a culture, and they have a name for, hearing people. They even have a bad joke that it's hearing because you think like a hearing person. And so that's a bad joke to make fun of hearing people. The way. So, there's all sorts of fun things that you can do with sign language. So I want to reference, not spend any more time too much on reviewing and go into the new lesson for today. Yes, you have a question or something you want to bring up? Go ahead, Anna.
Can you review the sign for divorce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Divorce. Yep, you're separating. We did the family signs with the D's. Divorce with the D's. Yep. Yeah, we learned some of the family signs. We learned about the male and female. So we learned like boy is up here, like the baseball cap. Girl is the thumb down the chin, like a bonnet strap. And the mother and father, you may have seen these signs before. Mom, dad. All the male signs, like Anna said, she learned are up here. All the female signs are down here. So boy, father, grandfather. So go back when you go back and look at those lessons and look at the family signs, watch the videos and notice some of those patterns going on. Any more questions of things that you guys learned in the past that you don't remember that you want to go over before we move on? Okay. I'm going to go down to lesson 3 so we can look at this. Great. Talking about, oops, I lost it. It's for some reason it's like not pulling it up. Why is it doing that? I'm going to refresh the page. There we go. Weird. Really? It pops up for a second and then it disappears. Not sure why it's freaking out on me. Oh, okay. It popped down to the bottom. Really weird. Okay, some of the objectives for lesson 3, understand the importance of facial expressions. So we kind of talked about that a little bit. Oh, we also did learning the numbers 1 through 10. So if you want, I'll go through a quick review of those before we learn 11 through 20. I kind of got ahead of myself and taught you guys how to do 11 through 20 as well last time. Initialization, we talked about that. That's where you put a letter of the alphabet with a sign. So like F for family, it's a group with a specific initialization. Not all signs can be signed like that, but there are quite a few that still keep that same initialization. It's like the first letter of your name and attaching it to a sign. I'm able to establish tense, something very important, meaning past, present, future. You guys are getting English lessons in this, but you didn't realize that didn't happen. But you know, it's kind of whenever you talk about language, you got to go there. I can name 4 sign parameters, and I'm gonna click on that so I can make sure I understand what he's referring to. Oh, 4 of them. You've got this: hand shape, location, movement, orientation, and facial expression are non-manual markers. Okay. I can define the word predicate. So lots of English stuff going on here. I can explain how ASL deals with ing and s and ed suffixes. I can understand negation, so the opposite of something. For example, no and don't know, and also shaking your head makes something become the opposite, meaning this sign plus my head shaking no means no or non, the opposite of something. Okay. So let's go. If you guys have the lesson up, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. We're going to just kind of keep going through these. I'm going to pull it back up though so that I can see my class and see my lesson at the same time. Yay. Okay. So we already talked about facial expressions. That's whatever you're doing with your face. Whenever you think about the emotion, it should show on your face and it should be part of the sign. It is actually incorporated. If you sign excited, how excited do I look, really? That could be sarcastic. You could actually make that work for you. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Okay, but I still made a facial expression. I made the opposite of what I was signing, so then it became sarcasm. But if you're just a flat face and you don't show any expression, you've lost the meaning of the sign. Yep. No facial expressions. Yep. So facial expressions are important, crucial. And you can even go take away the sign and show the facial expression and have no sign, and a deaf person would understand what you are experiencing in that moment. So it's even more important than the sign sometimes. And then, do you guys know what predicate means? I know Miss Lacey does. You can show off if you want to. It's okay. No. Okay. And you can test. So the predicate is the natural form of the verb, no tense, meaning the verb, like, if you were saying like run, not I ran or I'm going to run. Is that correct? Miss Lacey, you can correct me if my English is going bad. So most signs when you do an action verb, you have to kind of show tense with it. So when did it happen? So the way that you do that is everything that happened in the past is behind you. So think about it, it's behind you, it's in the past. There are some signs for past. There's like things to show. Another way to show that something happened is that it's done. It's finished. This is also the sign for finished or done. So you can say, yeah, we already ate. We ate. Eat, finish. Eat, finish. If something's happening in the present, it's right here. So this is the sign for now. It's kind of down at your waist. Y is upside down now. It's happening now. So today is the day that's happening now, for example. So this is the sign for day. And you're going to learn new signs that aren't on the list that are incorporated in teaching the principle. So too bad. Hopefully you guys will remember this, but it's recorded. So this is the sign for day. It's the sun going from one side of the sky to the other. Today is now. I've also seen them drop day and just sign this for today. So if you see that and it's in the context of today, we're going to talk about blah, blah, blah. They'll just sign this. So there's today. And then anything that happens in the future is going from your body out. So will, it's going to happen in the future, will. So past, present, future. If you were summing, like if you were going to say, I'm going to the store, you would drop the ing. You don't always use the progressive nouns, the ing. If you're trying to show that it was happening continuously, you would sometimes use the modifier continue. So this is the sign continue. They show repetitive motion to show that kind of like present progressive. So it's something that's in the moment, happening in the moment. Like the motor was running. So you'd be like, the motor of the car was running. So you would show repetitive motion. I'm hitting my right hand on the bottom of my left hand, and that's a motor running, right? So if there was a sentence that said the car engine was running, I would sign car, point to the engine, and then running. So that's one example. You guys are welcome to copy signs as much as you want, but I don't expect you to remember everything that I show you. Okay. So let's just go down through this list. If you have the list that you can look at to reference, great. If not, we're good to go. All. The first word on the list is all. Like all of it. It also means all of us or all as a whole. You can also sign, whenever they put that little hashtag in front of it, it means you can spell it. So I've seen this for all, A-L-L, or all, like all of you, A-L-L, all of you. But this is the sign for all also. You're turning your hand outward, scooping it up, wrapping it around, and dropping it, palm up. All. Okay, next word is ask. This is a sign for ask. The actual sign, you can also go like this. You can also shoot the question out in the direction of the person. I'm asking you to do something. Ask or inquire or request. The other thing that is important to understand about ASL, that ASL signs are attached to concepts, not English words. So just kind of get that stuck in your head. Whenever you think about sign language, it should go with a concept, which means there are multiple words that could go with one sign, which is great because there's so many English words. You imagine having to have a sign for every single one of them. You know, that would just be our brain, you know, capacity to be able to restore all that information would be very difficult. Or you'd be fingerspelling a lot, which we do sometimes when we're trying to teach deaf kids English vocabulary. It's important in their education to get the fingerspelling, but also to show them the sign with the finger spelling so that they can get the meaning with the word. Okay, so bad. So good, this one's kind of easy. Bad, you just turn it away. You just, there's quite a few signs where the opposite of the meaning is the reversed direction of the movement of the sign. So like good, bad, like, where you pull your middle finger and your thumb out from your chest. Dislike would be throwing it away. You don't like it, so you're flicking it away. So it's kind of the opposite. Instead of pulling it out and in, you're now flicking it away. So another one would be like know and don't know, throwing it in the opposite direction. We don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Okay, bathroom. Quite a few signs for this. This is the most common one. T for toilet. Shake it. Put your thumb up in between your point. Yep, there. Shake. There's also R, restroom. So if you want to be a little bit more, formal. And then there's also the funny sign, which is restroom, which is like you're crossing your legs like an R on your hand and it's shaking back and forth. You really need to go to the bathroom. That's just gotta throw the funny stuff in there too, because it doesn't have to be all, education. Okay. All right. So bathroom, big. So many signs for this, but yeah, big. The most common one is bent fingers. This is called an X hand shape. This is the letter X. You're going out. It's big. You could go big with flat hands like this, like a lot. This also means a lot, like there's a whole bunch of it. But this is more in reference to, I think, like size. Talking about size. It was really big. Or huge or gigantic or. All right, next one down, city. Yes, Anna, you have a question? Finding your mute button.
Is there facial expressions with big?
There is.
Normally, or can they be attached to it?
Yep. And that's the perfect introduction for this. It's called a mouth morpheme, or something that you do with the shape of your mouth that is associated with it. So for example, when talking about size, it's called cha, C-H-A. It's like, so I just did a mouth morpheme where I did something with my mouth and I put this funny word on my mouth, but it means humongous, right? Not just, it was pretty big. It's cha. So you've got facial expression, you've got mouth morpheme going, you've got the sign going, and then all of a sudden it's gigantic, right? If something's really small, what do you think you'd do with your mouth? How could you show? Yep, you guys see Mike, what he's doing with his mouth? He's making his lips pursed really tight. He's squinting his eyes, really small, really thin. Yeah, exactly. Think of drinking through a small straw, right? Really small. Really big, cha. Okay. Nice. Okay. City. This is also the sign for town. It's like all of the roofs in a town. Imagine like a London town with all the roofs, and you're kind of alternating. You're kind of moving it like back and forth. This is city or town. It's also neighborhood. So all of those kind of fall in that same sign category. Class. We learned this is kind of a generic sign for group, but this is kind of like an initialized thing with C for class. So we got family with F's. This is an F. And then class, group. I've also seen G for group and T for team. So there's quite a bit of initialization that's happening with that group concept. You can also put a sign label to something, and then all of a sudden it is a group of them, or it's plural. Cats. There is no, you don't spell C-A-T-S, cats. You don't say cats. So language is, it's a group of things. Or you can say a bunch, you can multiply it. Like they're multiplying, there's so many cats, they're all over the place. Or you could say a group of cats, right? Or you could say a bunch of books, right? Books. But whenever it's usually like a group of things or a group of people, you put what's called the group modifier on it, and all of a sudden it becomes plural. You could also say many. Like, oh my gosh, there are cats all over the place. You could say many, many. So there's lots of different ways that you can sign that. Okay, come. Come. And this is another one. The opposite is go. Come. go, come, go. You can say go with one hand or come with one hand, but it's kind of a double-handed one. Come, don't like. So we already did that one. Let's see, don't like. You guys remember? Like is pulling out your middle finger and your thumb from your chest. So like is throwing it away. Don't like. And shake your head. That's called negation. So you don't like it, your head needs to be going like, right? Not, it's so hard to shake your head. Yes, say I don't like it. I couldn't even do it. Okay, family. Learned that one already. Favorite. Family, make sure you get the F's on there. Make sure those, yep, the other fingers are all the way up. Favorite, or you prefer. What is your preference? Favorite. Fine. I'm good. How are you? I'm fine. Thumb on your chest, fingers out, fine. Doesn't quite mean fine like he's fine. Okay? That's from. So this one, I'm going to turn so you can see. This is my left hand right here. This is my base hand. My right hand is pulling like a trigger finger back from the back of my left finger. From. Like, where are you from? From where? Okay, we got go. Let's see, go. Go. There's also G-O. Like they've signed G-O too, like a quick G-O, G-O, G-O. Go. Go. So it's out pointing to the left of me and then flipping downwards to an O. Go. Or go to the place or whatever. Good, better, best. You guys already got good. Let's see, good. On your chin. Fingers on your chin, drop down to your hand. Good. Better. It's in the same place as good. It starts there, but for some reason it's doing something different. Better is pulling out and going up. So it's like, it's good, but it's a little bit better. What do you think best would be? If you're going with this, yep. It's the best. It's at the top. Yep. Which that thumb is a good way to be like, yeah, it's the best. That's the way to remember it. Okay. Good, better, best. Oh, here. So think of it as like in your personal present space here. It's right here. House. Also see city. Similar, but house is like the roof and then down the sides of the house. House. This is a sign for home. It's where you eat and sleep. We might learn this separately, but it's related to house. So different sign for home or house. And they're not necessarily interchangeable. So if someone signed house, like where's your house, I wouldn't sign where's your home. You could say that it's kind of the same, you know, it's kind of the same thing. It would pretty much work. They're somewhat synonymous, but go ahead, Anna. Yeah, can you sign house for that? Yes, you can just go like this. I've seen them do that as well. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, more. More. More, please. What do you want more, please, up? Chocolate. Ice cream? Okay. More. Need. So think of this as a hook. A hook is a dependent thing. It's hanging on something. So this means you need to, you should, you ought to, you have to, you must. Same concept, right? Necessity. It's a necessity. You have to. Need. It's also needs, like you have physical needs. You have physical needs. You have mental needs, right? Need. Need to go to the bathroom. No, whatever. Same type of a thing. School. This also means academic. Also related to paper, because paper, I've seen paper kind of is like backwards. So we're learning a lot of signs that are similar. School, paper, sometimes signed almost exactly the same, either backwards or I've seen it like this orientation, and then I've seen it just like school. And then nice, you know, same hand shapes, little bit of a different movement, paper, school. Not expecting you guys to remember all of it, but it's just fun to show you for now. School, it also means academic. So if you're signing something it's academic related, it's related to school. So it's the same concept. Small. Now, there's lots of different ways to sign small. Small could mean if you were trying to say a person is small, you wouldn't sign small, right? You'd sign small, or they're thin, or there's a different way to describe a person, right? If they're gigantic, huge, they got a lot of muscles, or they're really tall, right? So different descriptive words, you're not always going to use the same sign to describe. English, sometimes you can apply the same word to a sentence, but all of a sudden it's got different meaning. So important too. So small, you could do small like this. You could put both hands together. So you could do big and small, or you could do, it doesn't quite work with this finger shape. To me, that doesn't quite work, but big, small, a little bit, small, depending on what you're describing. I'm going to just click on this really quick because I want to see what he's signing for it. So I can be, yep, he's signing the hands together. Small. Okay, he's doing small. All right, almost through the list. Think. This is also think, like, what do you think? What do you think about that? Thinking is a movement. So anything that's like the process is going, you're thinking about something, that's the present progressive thinking, right? You're moving it. There's action to it. It's also the sign for brain. It's also the sign for mind. I wouldn't say it's the sign for think about, but I've also seen this for your thinking, like the actual thinking process, like just one finger. I've seen two fingers. Wonder, you're wondering about something. So think about the neurons firing around in your brain. So maybe that can help you to remember the sign. Okay, want. You want something. Think about pulling that object toward yourself. You want it, right? You like it. You don't like it. Okay. Let's see. How are we doing on time? We are almost out of time. So for you guys' practice, which I think these lessons are set up just perfectly. We go through the list. We show the signs. You guys can go back and refer to the video. He'll go through and show you every single sign that we just went over. So if you forget it, you can also click on those links and he does a pop-up video of himself signing that sign. So you can practice it. And then I want you guys to do the practice part of it. And it's helpful to do it in front of a mirror so you can see how you're signing those things, what it looks like when you're doing it. Does it look like what he just did? Oh, no, it doesn't. Why? What is he doing differently? So it just helps you to kind of analyze your form. Okay, so like ask that person for their name. What city do you live in? Do you like learning sign language? Is your house big? Now, most of the time, the sentences that he's coming up for you to practice are building on the previous lessons that we've already learned or that we've gone over in the class. So we've already done lessons 1 and 2. So he's going to incorporate some of those signs that were already taught. So for you guys, you might not know any of those signs, or you might know some of them, ones we just learned. So you guys with the catch-up will have a little bit more to do with the catch-up for lessons 1 and 2 to learn. Just go through the vocabulary list, click on them, see the signs, and practice some of the sentences that they're showing you to practice, and that will help to ingrain the signs into your brain, because as soon as you put them into a sentence structure, your brain makes connections and you remember it better. So it's always important you can practice signs by themselves to make sure you're getting the form right, but then you have to add putting them into a sentence to ingrain them in your brain. So make sure that you don't ever just practice isolated practicing, like the sign for good is good, good, good. Make sure you say, how are you? Fine, I'm good. So make sure you put it with meaning when you're practicing. Even if you go up and ask someone else in your house and you sign it and you say it at the same time, just so you're practicing the signs. Doesn't matter. Do you guys have any other questions for me about the class or anything else you want to bring up before we close today? Elizabeth, I see you. She's spelling her name. Okay, you guys watching her? Okay, I want everyone to say perfect. I want everyone to say nice to meet you. Can you guys all do that? Can you say nice to meet you and then go Elizabeth? E next to your chin and out to a B. E. That's okay. She's gone. That's all right. It's all good. She got the nice to meet you part. Perfect. Thanks for sharing, Mike. Are you guys good? Do you have any other questions? Expectations for studying? If you guys have any questions during the week between now and next week, you can email me, you can text me, you can say, hey, I just don't quite get this, or, hey, what were we supposed to be doing again? I don't remember. Just happy to help. So thanks so much for taking the class, and I will see you guys again next week. I will see you next week.
I have questions, Rebecca.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Go.
I don't care if other people go or stay. I just got the email today. Is the Monday class the same as the Thursday class?
It's the same content, yes. So
Okay.
if a different time works out better, you're welcome to join the other classes, and I won't feel offended if you don't come back to my class. But yeah, I would love to have you guys, and hopefully if we're all on track, we're learning the same stuff. So
Thank you.
yep. Thank you so much, guys, and
Thank you. Bye-bye.
bye. Yes, go ahead, Mike. I can't hear you. I can read your lips, but if you... Okay. Good question. I think, as far as I know, and this might be a good question for Zach, because he's the one in charge of setting up the classes and knowing where things are at. But I think the objective of this is to do a 12-week introductory class, basic for everybody. And then for possibly for that class to start splitting out into somebody continuing to do basic, maybe somebody does intermediate and somebody does advanced, so that people can join the right classes. But I don't really know the exact plan. So he's probably the best person to answer that question. Yeah. But yeah, it's up to you. You're welcome to come to keep coming to this. I would also recommend going to the LifePrint site and just going through all the lessons and just boom, 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 making sure you know all of it and basically catching yourself up with those lessons. Right. That's just no. She doesn't want you to practice. Hi, Elizabeth. All right. Well, that's the end of the class. Love you guys. I'm going to sign off and stop recording, but join if you want to and talk to Zach. So.